The morning sun spilled softly over the old government school of Ratanpura, a tiny village wrapped in dust and dreams. In the back row of class 5 sat a thin boy named Ayaan Rahim, his uniform torn at the shoulder, his books stitched with thread, and his pencil broken in half. But his eyes, they held galaxies of ambition. While others played cricket after school, Ayaan sat under the banyan tree, writing stories in the dirt with that broken pencil. He whispered to himself, greater than, someday, this pencil will write my name in big letters, somewhere people will notice. It was a hot afternoon. The class was silent as the math teacher scolded Ayaan for getting poor marks again. Greater than, you can't even add properly. Ayaan, what will you become in life? The class giggled. Ayaan's face turned red. The teacher continued, greater than, children like you can't even afford notebooks. Forget about becoming anything great. He stood there quietly, clutching his pencil so tight it snapped in his hand. That day, Ayaan didn't cry. He just looked outside the window and promised himself, I'll prove you wrong. His father, Rahim Chacha, repaired shoes by the roadside. He had rough hands, tired eyes, but a heart full of warmth. When Ayaan told him what happened at school, his father just smiled and said, greater than, beta, people laugh until you give them a reason not to. He handed Ayaan a pencil stub from a customer who'd thrown it away. Greater than, it's small, but it still writes, just like us. That night, Ayaan studied beside the flickering streetlight, mosquitoes buzzing, stomach growling. His mother watched from the doorway and whispered, greater than, he's got his father's courage and a fire of his own. Every night became a test. After school, Ayaan helped his father fix shoes. At 10 p.m., when his friends slept, he opened his old books under that same dim streetlight. He used leftover chalk, coal, even pieces of charcoal to write when his pencil broke. He refused to stop. The village boys mocked him. Greater than, studying won't make you rich. Ayaan, come play cricket. He smiled and said, greater than, if I study now, maybe one day I can buy the whole playground. He didn't know it yet, but that line would become true. When board exams came, Ayaan couldn't afford tuition, so he made his own notes, small, neat handwriting, pages filled with hope. The night before exams, his father fell ill. Ayaan sat beside him, torn between family and future. His father held his hand and whispered, greater than, don't stay here. Go write your paper. My illness can wait, your dream can't. Ayaan went. He wrote every answer with trembling hands, but with the strength of his father's words. Results day. The village gathered at the school notice board. Ayaan's friends ran ahead, scanning the list. Then someone shouted, greater than, Ayaan Rahim, first rank. Everyone turned to look at him, the boy who once had a broken pencil. The teacher who insulted him adjusted his glasses and said softly, greater than, Ayaan, I'm proud of you. Tears filled Ayaan's eyes as he looked at the sky and whispered, greater than, I did it, Baba. Ayaan got a scholarship to a top college in Jaipur. It was his first time leaving the village. The city was loud, fast, and cruel. He worked part-time at a tea stall to afford meals. When he wasn't serving tea, he was learning coding in the college library, for free. Many nights, he slept on benches, but he never stopped writing with that same old pencil stub, now taped together with hope. One day, after years of struggle, Ayaan got an internship at a tech startup. It wasn't glamorous, but it was a start. He worked day and night, fixing codes, building websites. No one noticed him, until one day, the company's server crashed. Panic spread. The CEO shouted, we're losing everything. Ayaan, quiet and calm, stayed all night rebuilding the system from scratch. At sunrise, the company was back online. The CEO looked at him and said, greater than, who are you? Just a boy with a broken pencil. Ayaan replied, smiling. He was promoted that same day. 10 years later, Ayaan stood on a stage in Mumbai, lights flashing, cameras clicking. He was now the CEO of Pencil Code Technologies, one of India's fastest growing tech firms. Behind his desk in the office hung that same broken pencil, framed in glass. Beneath it, engraved in gold letters, greater than, from this pencil, a dream was written. Years later, he returned to Ratanpura, the same dusty school, the same banyan tree. He donated computers, new benches, and scholarships for poor children. When the teacher who once mocked him came forward with tears in her eyes, Ayaan said, greater than, you were right, ma'am. I couldn't add numbers back then, but I learned to add value. He then placed a box of brand new pencils on every desk and said, greater than, write your story. Don't wait for a perfect start. As he walked away, the children cheered, greater than, Ayaan Bhaiya, Ayaan Bhaiya. He smiled because somewhere, deep down, he was still that boy with a half-broken pencil and a full heart. Greater than, a broken pencil can still write if the hand refuses to give up. You don't need money to dream, you need courage to keep going. Even the smallest tool can create the biggest change. Pencil biceps.